Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
You've got questions. She's got answers. It could be about finance, job, career, relationships, whatever's going on in your life. She is our intuitive consultant. She is a clairvoyant card reader. She does so much to give you the answers that you're looking for. Ayanna K. Thompson is with us. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you, Steve. So excited to be on the show today.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And anytime we have anybody that is intuitive, I get excited. I don't know if it's the energy I pick up on. And one of the ways that you do come up with answers is by using what is called oracle cards. And
absolutely.
You know, maybe you haven't heard of what those are, but maybe you've heard of something called a tarot or tarot card.
Absolutely.
This does the same thing, sort of. What is the difference between the two?
It's a divination tool, right? And so the difference being it's a different form of imagery. And so it's a different interpretation, and it might translate an easier message. So if you're not familiar with the meaning of tarot, if you would, the oracle cards kind of make it easier for beginners. And it's just another divination tool with imagery, you know, to spread the same message pretty much, depending on, you know, topics, because there's oracle cards for everything. There's health, there's body, there's career. Wow. Yeah, it's and so some people get caught up in tarot in thinking that it may have some sort of demonic connotation, but it's not. It's all divination tools, you know, and it's whatever you feel comfortable with.
I've never asked this question, but you kind of piqued my curiosity on this.
Yeah.
If you had a question from somebody and you had a deck of tarot cards and you had a deck of oracle cards, would the answer kind of be the same?
Pretty much.
Yeah?
Pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much. Because it's all the same thing. It's just, it depends, because the imagery kind of gives room for more answers, if you would. So depending on the deck, you know what I mean? It depends. It gives more imagery, more answers. So, but pretty much the same message. So it's interesting. And it depends on the question, because I'll bounce between, you know? So,
you said something before, and I want to make sure I heard it clear that there's different cards for finance, career, body. Did I hear that right?
You did.
Wow.
You did. I saw a card deck the other day that was basically, it was called a doodle tarot deck. And basically it's like imagery of the same, because the tarot is the same. The imagery kind of it leaves room for interpretation based on the person who designs the deck, right? But it's always the same message. And so the imagery behind the tarot deck, based on who makes it, is kind of giving more room for different types of answers, but the same message. I mean, we can figure it out when we do some readings. I'll show you some different, like a tarot deck versus an oracle deck. Let's see. So I'm going to show you, like, this is a tarot deck. And so this is showing, like, you see the imagery. So this is showing kind of total.
We can see it. Just a little reflection on it.
Oh,
so
okay. How about this?
Yeah, go a little closer to the camera. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So this is showing like a total love, content, and support, a happy family life, you know, having everything, right? And if I had whereas an oracle card deck might show something like, I don't know, leadership, you know what I mean? Where it's one word. There's no wording on the tarot deck, you know what I mean? Except for the cups. You see it says 10 of cups. So you would have to know what that means, what that translates to. Whereas in an oracle card deck, it tells you what the imagery is. Like, this is telling you flexibility, and then there's some imagery back there, which is room for interpretation based on the channel messages that you receive. You know what I mean? So it depends.
Hmm. Is that standard that there's usually no wording on those decks on the
Yeah, well, on the tarot decks,
yeah.
no. They're based on like they have four different I guess I could call them denominations. Cups, wands, um what do you call those? Some people call it swords.
Okay.
Swords. So swords are for thoughts, cups are for emotions, wands are for passion and creativity, and then there's one more. And then you have the major arcana and the minor arcana. Wands is for like, what do you call that? The earthly things, you know, um, like work, income, that type of thing. So, but you have to understand, like discs, like this is a discs. This could be, and discs is a new type of terminology based on the deck, based on the person who made the deck, and this is kind of having to do with the earth, having to do with prosperity, having to do with funds, income coming in. So, I mean, it depends on who designs the deck. This is a Queen of Cups. This is someone who has emotional intelligence, who is a leader in their field. They're at the top of their game and they're very loving, you know. So I mean, it depends.
And what did you say before, just to reconfirm it, that there's different cards for different things? Like, okay, so you said body, there's one, maybe relationships. So
Yeah.
let's say somebody asks a question about relationships. Does that mean, oh, hold on a minute, let me pull that deck out that goes along with
Well,
relationships?
you know what, Steve? I don't know, maybe over 100 decks. So it depends on what I feel. So, I mean, it depends on what message I'm feeling that I need to deliver. Like, I'm going to show you because you said something about relationships. So, here is a deck for relationships. And this is romance angels. Okay. And so, this is saying this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. You know what I mean? But this is they call this a tarot deck. So it depends. They're
Wow.
all divination tools. You know what I mean? It's all different. But the tarot covers everything. And the oracle deck could be specific. It's kind of the same, but a
Hmm.
different divination tool, like a pendulum, crystals, runes. There's so many ways to communicate with the spiritual realm. And so you have whatever you feel comfortable with, you know? And
Wow.
so I love, because I call myself an oracle, because I help people heal their energy and also kind of give spiritual guidance so they can transform where they are and get to where they're going. And so not only am I telling you where you are, I'm trying to help you transform the energy so that you live your best life, if you will, and you get back on path for your destiny. So I like to, you know, see your future, if you would, and transform it from where it was.
You you said something before, and I want to make sure that this is clear.
Mhm.
Whatever you're feeling. So somebody poses a question to you. Is it your intuitiveness that drives you to a certain deck and
It
or
is.
card? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Because we did a reading with you the other day on
Hmm.
your love life. And I went to, if I recall, I think I went to my this deck, which is it's it's an oracle deck. Now this is talking about true love, which I told you that you were going to have.
Hmm.
Remember?
By the
Right.
way, you did say, I want to reflect back because we haven't talked since
Yes.
then.
Yes.
You did say that you're gonna have a really good night.
That's right. You were going out that night, right? You and your friends.
And I had a really
And
good night. And as a matter of fact, I did tell her that you and I talked, and I said,
yeah,
we had a great time, didn't we? Right. And I said, well, guess what? Ayanna said that. I actually told
yeah,
her that. Not even kidding.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
psyched to hear that.
Yeah.
Listen, divinity doesn't lie. And I
Mm,
told you, every time I do a reading, I always work with the archangels, right? And if I recall, I made mention that the archangels are the highest level of light, right? They're pure. They've never manifested themselves on the physical plane. And so they give messages of purity, of integrity, of ethics, right? And for the highest good of the person involved. And so I love working with them. I love working with absolutely our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, right? And we talked about that in the last time we spoke, where I made mention that, Jesus told us to turn the other cheek. He was the first one to obtain Christ consciousness, right? Which is basically, living like God in terms of following the path of what feels right for us, right? Following an emotional guidance system, which is basically what makes us happy in life. And which you and I talked, and you said you kind of figured that out for yourself a few
hmm
years ago,
Yep.
and living life consciously and on purpose. And so, I always work with Jesus and my ancestors, which I told you I was a third generation psychic. So I work with my deceased father, my deceased grandmother, and my deceased uncle. And so they are always present, delivering messages, and they lead me to where I got to go. Because sometimes God is busy, right? So I got to use his helpers.
I so I want to throw out here instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. If
Yes.
you have a question about anything that we're talking about, 631-319-6275, another way to reach us.
Yes.
We got Jody checking in from Searsport, Maine, and she says, thanks for your talk today. What's the difference between a card reading and a psychic or medium reading?
Well, like I said, the card readings are divination tools. So psychics also use divination tools. And as I made mention, you can use the pendulum, you can use tarot, you can get channeled messages, directly, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairkinetics, telepathically. And so kind of, if you're psychic, you probably still use tools to back up what you're hearing or feeling. You can be empathic. And as I made mention, in terms of mediumship, you can it's basically a person who is able to interpret messages from the divine between realms, right? Because we have the 5D realm, which is thought, and then we have the physical 3D realm, which we're physically living in, right? And so I always say, first it's thought, then thought form, then physical, right? So everything comes from 5D, then to 3D. And so you always use divination tools. Like, this is my beautiful new oracle card. This is on love and relationships. So this is specific to love and relationships,
Wow.
right? Yeah. And as I was showing you, like, this is an oracle deck. I don't know if you can see it, but
You can see it very clear.
okay, good. Okay. So this is another divination tool. This is an oracle deck, and this is a one message thing. I don't know if you can see it. So, but they're all tools, you know what I mean? To kind of, and intuitively, you know where to go, right? Because they're
Okay.
directing you. I mean, that's how I, kind of operate.
So if somebody comes before you and they want to get some insight on whatever it might be,
Yeah.
then do you make the determination to, all right, you know what, we're going to do a card reading, and then might you even get some spirit guiding you,
Oh, yeah,
and
spirit
provide
is
that?
always guiding me. Everything comes from within. I'm always inspired to know what to do or where to go. I am the middle person. I take the credit, right? They give me the answers. You know what I mean? And I'm working with them.
You're
I'm
just
the middle
like,
person.
they say, it's a cliche. You're just a messenger. It's just a
Right?
messenger.
I'm the conduit,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of people say it's a blessing and it's a curse. I feel like it's a blessing because you lived a charmed life, if you will. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
I told you my life is a walking meditation where I'm always in communication with God and my and the angels, you know?
I want to go back to something else you said because we're moving in different topics, but you said 3D.
Yeah,
And did you also say five?
I did say 5 days.
Okay. Um, I've been learning, studying that recently,
Okay.
where five is where we're eventually going to get there. It's going to take a while. Most of us are in three. Some of us are in the fourth dimension.
Right.
Um, where are you right now?
I'm in all dimensions, truthfully. I mentally I'm in the fifth dimension because I know that we're about to do some readings. Physically, I'm here, right? So as I may mention, you know, with my affirmation deck, right? I said first you have to feel it before you see it until you know it before it becomes. And so that goes back to the fifth dimension, right? Where you're kind of when you communicate with the fifth dimension, you're communicating with God. You're feeling emotionally, following your emotional guidance system, right? And then you're thinking about it, right? And then so you're feeling it, you're thinking about it, and then you're manifesting it, right? All at the same time. But so you're always kind of, whether you consciously are aware or not, you're always in all dimensions. But most people are asleep. And I told you they're caught up in the matrix, right?
Mm.
So,
Somebody said something to me today, and I remember you mentioned Matrix last time we got together. By the way, we have a question in a moment.
okay.
Um, very powerful what they said,
Yeah.
that The Matrix wasn't a fictional movie, it was a documentary.
Oh, really? It should be.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I'm going to go home this weekend and watch The Matrix.
Go check it out. I think it's on HBO, which is now
Yeah.
Max, I think. But
Yeah.
that's the perfect parable. You know, it's like, are you caught up in the rat race? You know, did you take the red pill or the blue pill? And I'm meaning metaphorically, you know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And that's what the movie is pretty much about. And when Keanu Reeves takes that pill, he is getting direct downloads. And we're all, let me let that pass. We're all consciously trying to connect with our higher God selves, if you would, so we could co-create and live life joyously.
When I
That's
saw
what,
that movie years ago, I was in a different place. I didn't have I guess, the insight of the stuff that we're talking about now. So I can't wait to watch it again
oh,
and
you're
see
gonna,
it with a different set of eyes. We've got Tina in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and I
okay.
guess she's looking for a
All
card
right,
reading. She
cool. I'm
says,
excited.
I started a new job about 6 weeks ago. Do you think I'll succeed and stay in this position?
Let's find out. So Tina, is she on? Oh, what's ask her what's her date of birth? Because I
Oh,
feel like she's going on an adventure. I feel like there's going to be flexibility for her. I feel like she's going to love it. She's going to embrace it. And yeah, I feel like she's going to feel relaxed. There's going to be transformation. She's going to have inner peace. It's going to be a new beginning.
She
And
um she messaged us. So Tina, if you're listening, your date of birth, hit us up with that if you want to call us, or instant
yeah,
feedback steve@gmail.com, how you reach out initially.
yeah.
So I'm waiting on that. Hopefully we'll get that
All
answered. Should we
right, good. I hope she got that message though. And I want to see something else for her. What did she say her date of birth was?
I'm waiting on that. She didn't
Okay.
provide that. Yeah, I guess we should ask for that initially.
Yeah.
I mean, we could
Well,
press the
it would
pause button
help.
as we wait, and then if that's going to help you.
Yeah.
All right. So Tina, we're waiting. If you could, let's see if we get
The
your
other
date of
thing I
birth.
wanted to tell you, Steve, was, you know, it was interesting that you said that you, when you reviewed the, when you saw that movie, The Matrix, way back then, you know, you didn't realize it then. But I can relate to what you're saying because I watched it again maybe last summer, and then it hit me again, you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
always like to say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? Because
I gotcha.
now you're ready to receive it in a different light, and so it's
100
perfect.
billion%. That's
Yes.
how it works. That is,
It,
and side note here,
yeah.
all this stuff, when I do podcasts connected to the metaphysical,
Yeah.
I was doing this, not a podcast, but I was exposed to the metaphysical world.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, I would say much more deeply in 2009 and 10 in
Okay.
in a different capacity.
Right.
And it was there all in front of me. And in a marketing arena.
Yeah.
And I didn't dive in. I just kind of skimmed the water, but it was back in my face. And
Yeah.
now, doing what I'm doing now, I feel like, I've gone to school, I've learned so much. And
Right.
but it's almost like the universe is saying, like you said, teacher showed up. You're one of the teachers.
Yes.
And
Every single time when the student is ready, the teacher will appear because
yeah,
they could be there, but you weren't ready to receive
you
it.
weren't
You
ready.
have to be ready for it.
I
So,
totally agree. So
yeah.
I'm looking down, Tina with the question says date of birth is 7/12, 74.
Okay. I want to grab a deck for her because I wonder if she heard what I said, but I want to grab some. So tell Tina, I feel like she's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. I feel like she's ambitious. She's in the spotlight. I feel like she's inspirational. Okay. I feel like she makes a good impression. She's a great catch. I feel like she's a big fish. She reels them in.
Hmm.
She's going to make some lucrative deals. She's going to have an influx of abundance. I feel like she's going to have a steady money flow, quick cash. And I feel like she's opened the door to possibilities. I feel like she's shifting a focus, and I feel like she's taking the right steps. And I feel like she's seeking the Holy Grail. You know what I mean? And I feel like
Hmm.
she's going to be fulfilled. And I feel like she's going to have her greatest desire. And look at this, a full cup. So
Wow.
she's going to be, yeah. So
So
good
were
for
you
her.
saying good stuff coming?
Yeah.
Um,
And I feel like she's with powerful people. Okay. She's a boss. She's a CEO. She'll be an owner, a manager. She's moving up. She has a
wow.
lot of influence. Yeah.
Now,
So
was
good
that
for her.
what you're doing now? Is that also based on her date of birth?
It is,
Okay. Okay. And
which is why I asked.
how do you translate that to the cards? I have no idea how that's done.
I don't know because I feel like
Okay.
it just happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
it just happens. I also want to say that she's going to beat financial struggles. So she's going to be very successful, okay, and very powerful. And she's at the top of her game. And
So
she's brilliant. She's successful. She's going to get this promotion. She's shining at work,
her
and she's
that
going to
was her
get
initial
great pay.
question. She just
Yeah.
started a job 6 weeks ago and was wondering if she's going to succeed at this job. So what I'm getting from you, it sounds like the answer would be yes.
Well, it's interesting that you said that because the first card after you said that was success.
Was it
So
really?
she's definitely going to have success. And I feel like she is courageous. Okay. I feel like she's in the right mindset. And I feel like she's going to get a helping hand, and I feel like she's going to be very successful. Very
Wow.
successful. Yeah. So good for her. She's on the right path.
Huh. I think it's cool that the success card came up. I mean,
It sure did. It sure did. And I feel like she is, like she's committed. She's creating from her heart. I feel like she's going to be long term, if you will. And I feel like this could be some sort of legacy thing for her.
wow.
Yeah. And there's a lot. I feel like she's making a lot of progress. I do see her with a partner too. And I feel like she has answers, the keys to the kingdom, if you will. I feel like she has money solutions. I feel like she's going to ascend.
Hmm.
I see this promotion.
So now you're looking at a deck that's more career driven, but you did say you see her with a partner. You're picking that up somehow?
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, she's definitely gonna. I mean, and it's funny you say that because the next thing I got is foresight because I have the foresight to see that, right?
wow.
Seeing into the future. So and she's going to be in a committed relationship,
Interesting. Like
and her wish is granted.
her wish is granted. Well, I hope we hear back. We're actually out of time.
God, it goes so fast.
I
We have
know,
so much
right?
fun.
And it's like, if you see me look this way, they give me the cue over here, and I'm like, is it really? But it is. I'm looking right there, and
We have to wait till next week
yeah,
for more fun.
Tina, updates. Tell us if that's accurate. Tell us what you got. In the meantime, how do we find you, Ayanna?
So I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And so on Facebook, I am under the Intuitive Oracle, and that's, the Intuitive Oracle. And I have my own website, theintuitiveoracle.com and theintuitive1.org. Okay. And so the same thing on Instagram. I'm under what is it? The Intuitive Oracle.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have to tell you, Ayanna, when you do what you do, you make it so clear. We don't know how this stuff works. And, you're receiving messages, you're interpreting cards. You could go, all over the place and make it, deep and just over our heads, but you make it come through very clear.
Good.
And that's that. That's fantastic. It's
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you.
When you did that reading for me last time we got together, I had it. I retained it. It was simple for me to remember, and you did say a lot, and I was able to echo it to others about what you said very clearly because of the way you delivered it. So yeah, if anybody's looking for a reading, some insight, you got questions, this one right here has the answers. So
and you know what? They can reach me directly. I'm going to give you my phone line. It's 914-826-7837. So they can contact me directly for a reading too.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, fantastic. Always great having you on. I appreciate you, and look forward next time we get a chance to talk.
Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.